on a revolution. Well, you know, we are
Ron Paul revolution. That's what the congressman's supporters called his last presidential campaign. It would be a revolution to shrink government to what the founders had in mind. The Constitution's this thin. Though I don't think that's necessarily what the Beatles had in mind. But given Dr. Paul's opposition to foreign wars and the war on drugs, he wants to end that, I would think many on the left would support him. History professor Thaddeus Russell thinks Dr. Paul makes a mistake by running as a Republican. Thaddeus, why?
Well, I think if we're going to end the wars, if we're going to end the American empire, the only thing that will do that is a coalition between the left and people like Ron Paul. And in fact, he knows that he's talked with Ralph Nader in public and with Bernie Sanders and other very left-wing people in American political discourse about doing just that. And so I know that Ron Paul agrees with me in this project of working with the left generally.
I have certainly worked with those on the left and with the progressives. I think our problem that we face is
And just to back that up, I mean, you're right about Bernie Sanders, Barney Frank. Right. You've co-authored bills with Tammy Baldwin, Dennis Kucinich.
Right. I work with coalitions. People talk about our solution comes from compromise. I don't like the word compromise. That's why you give up half your beliefs, and I don't believe that.
I agree with you.
But if you find
I agree with you.
If you find a Dennis Kucinich and others on the other side, and we believe in the same thing, then we come together on those beliefs.
One of your great causes that you worked with Ralph Nader on during the last election was to break this horrible two-party duopoly. It was a wonderful thing that you did with him and Cynthia McKinney and Bob Barr. And I think that it would be a good thing. I might even vote for you.
You know, the problem is, you know, we send troops overseas, and one of the goals is that we're going over there and make the world safe democracy, impose our will, and teach the Afghans to have elections like we do. Then they have elections, we don't like them, so we ignore them. But here in this country, you know, the process of democracy isn't all that great, you know, because if you come to the conclusion you may have, if the two parties are not too much different than foreign policies per se, they're the same thing.
Exactly.
Where's the alternative? It has to come outside, and that's what you're suggesting. But unless you're Ross Perot and have a lot of money, getting on balance is tough. I probably wouldn't be sitting here today if I wasn't running as, you know, I'm a Republican congressman. So they sort of force you into the system.
They'll vote for you if you're an independent. I guarantee you.
All right. So we need to make it a little bit easier for competition.
Thaddeus, most of the people on the left, they're hostile to free markets.
Well, I am a man of the left. The left is hostile to freedom in certain areas, in particular in economics. And so that is the difference that won't go away. What I would love to see, though, is for people like Ron Paul, good libertarians in my view, coalesce with people on the left around issues like foreign policy, around civil liberties, around corporatism, the collusion between corporations and government that I know you, again, have worked with progressives and leftists on in many ways, and that was a wonderful, exciting. Ralph Nader said that was the most exciting political dynamic in American politics in many, many years, and I agree with him. I'd like to see more of it.
And areas where you agree with the left, the war, the bailouts, you're against the corporate bailouts and all corporate welfare, farm subsidies, export help for certain companies. I assume you were against the recent crackdowns on internet poker? Assume the left is too. Free speech, you don't want the FCC to censor. You're okay with pornography and prostitution? You're a social conservative.
Well, I'm socially not endorsing it personally as much as legally.
I am. I'm endorsing it.
But we can agree on the liberty.
I'm going to get more votes than you.
Make your own. I'm in agreement that we all get to make our own choices.
Absolutely. No, we are. We are in agreement. Yes. We're in agreement. Yes.
But let me ask, when I came out of the closet as a libertarian, I thought,
so to speak,
I thought it was the left that would embrace these ideas, because some of them, you know, things like saying there should be legal drugs or prostitution, it's just abhorrent to some people on the right. But the left has been horribly hostile to me. I had a best-selling book I couldn't get on NPR or the New York Times. I got on Fox. I don't get why the right is more tolerant to these ideas.
I think it's true. On some of the civil liberty issues, they will be more tolerant. It's mixed up. We need to get this whole principle of personal liberty put back together again.
Let's see a coalition on these issues, on these many issues. We can name 10 to 15, maybe 20 major issues in American politics right now on which the left and libertarians like Ron Paul agree. And then, in the course of that, let's have a discussion about the market.
On that note, thank you, Thaddeus Russell. It's clear if Ron Paul runs for president, he will run as a Republican. And then, if nominated, he will debate President Obama. When we return. Oh, come on. Ron Paul, when we return, goes head-to-head with this man.